right. It is now time for raising funds for World Domination, day number 199. So, time for the daily update. So once again, on October 14th, we won the rent eviction case. And the rumor is that they may try to appeal, though I'm still unaware of any appeals. I think they've only got a week left to file an appeal. The next item focus is the Shopify Store. So the main reason I set up the Shopify Store was to get product links under my videos. And after setting that up, Google Merchant Center promptly disabled my products. So I filed some appeals and improved some things, and it's still broken. So today I actually resumed doing a bit of work on that. And I'm going to try to... I watched some videos about like common reasons your Merchant Center account gets disabled. So one of them is like you should create like an About Us page on your store and just have a whole bunch of things to make it look more, have more information, make it look more trustworthy and stuff. But yeah, I'll probably spend a bit of time for a few days on that. Edmund Edit says, "Hi Robert. I'm wondering if I should learn PHP." That's a good question. I would say, is PHP already disused? I would say you should learn it if there's a high probability that you'll get paid to use it. So if you, like, let's say you started a job and your job is to like do something on a either write or do something with a legacy PHP project, then I think it's worth it. I don't know, in this day and age, I kind of think it's I don't think it would make sense. I don't think it makes sense to start new projects in PHP these days. Although I actually don't really know a whole lot about the state of the art, like what people are writing stuff in. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are, like, if you learn PHP, I'm sure there are jobs where they're looking for PHP developers, but mostly those are probably because a company already has an existing massive code base that has like thousands of lines of PHP, and they don't really, it doesn't make sense for them to rewrite it. Having said that, I do believe, like, I think in the last decade, PHP, the language, like PHP used to be a kind of, PHP was one of the first server-side open source programming languages. I think it was the first and the only for quite a while. So that made it dominated the market, but it was also very, it was like a really kind of crappily put together language with a lot of ridiculous issues and bugs and stuff like that. But in the last decade, a lot of the issues with the language, I believe, have been fixed, or so I'm told. I haven't coded PHP in quite a while. But I think modern day PHP is not as bad as it used to be. But that, of course, that also means there's tons of compatibility problems if you like take an application, a PHP application from 15 years ago, and try to get it working today. First of all, it would have lots of security issues, and then if you try to upgrade the versions, there's tons of work to upgrade. But when it comes to, you know, learning this or that, I think it makes sense to maximize in a way I've come to view, like almost everything you learn is like on some time scale is going to be a waste of time. So you should waste your time carefully on waste your time learning things that'll make you money that you actually use. Because I don't know how many frameworks and stuff I learned back in the day on the expectation that I was going to get a contract. I was talking to just, in the talking stages to do some project for like Angular or something, and then it just fell through, and then I spent time learning it, and then I never used it, ever. And then time goes by, and the languages or the knowledge is no longer relevant. Google AI account 1 says yeet. Can't wait for day 200. You'll only have to wait about 24 hours. It's coming up rapidly. Yeah, so the this is my favorite explanation. Excellent. I'm glad you like it. Yeah, I guess based on, I can only speculate based on what you said, but a better answer probably requires more context about if it's more like you're trying to plan your career, like what should you focus on, or like you're in the early stages of getting a job somewhere, maybe, or if you're in school, or oh yeah, another thing was when I talked to the postal clerk, they suggested there might be a Canada Post strike again in November, but it looks like that has not materialized so far. But I guess there's still time for Christmas. Josu Sanchez, welcome to the student here. Thank you very much. Yes, and once again on the Google Merchant Center, so the plan, I think I've done about as much as I can improve to all my contact information and shipping info, and so I think the next thing will just be an About Us page, and then I guess I should also advertise on Stream. So here's the Shopify store. There's what it looks like, and the previous block dedications, those have all sold. I just doubled them each time. But if you want to get, I'm making them expensive now, $32 to get one a dedicated ore type added to the game in your name. So you can have cast number this, and that'll appear in the help menu, and then I guess likely some other places once I add more features to the game. Feeling lucky to have received my sticker order in that case. Oh, were you one of the regular expression stickers orders? That's good to know it's actually getting through. The cost of postage is getting expensive. The last I know it's a theme to talk about inflation, but it actually seems like inflation is like, I don't know, it's really starting to bite in now. There's a lot of stuff I'm noticing is like twice as much as I mentally recall it costing. Multiple stickers? Excellent. Yeah, and then we'll see once I sell those. And actually, I have another product idea that I might add, but I guess I'll probably wait until I get more sales first before I add more stuff. My hope was that I could get the product links added before Christmas, because it really seems like that's going to be, if I don't get the product links on YouTube, I don't think I'm going to make many sales on here. Lunar Flytrap says, hello fellow devs. How's it going? All right, then next item is videos. So I've got a couple videos ahead. So I guess I should probably, within the next few days, take the first video that I have, and then next video make that members only to public. And I guess another positive note, my how to make a CPU video is trending again, so that made revenue go up, which is awesome. I actually wonder, so I turned, for these live streams, they added a new feature called like ads automator. So I did like 100 live streams with no monetization on, and I actually kind of wonder if that didn't really hurt the channel metrics, because it was only like a couple days after I turned monetization back on that suddenly the channel is trending again. Ben says hi. How's it going? So the next immediate primary goal is to get the next release of the terminal block mining game out by day 200, and I think I'm going to meet that goal because I guess I kind of finished everything I wanted to finish a couple days ago. Yesterday was basically just playtesting, and I didn't find any bugs. I updated a couple things in the README today, so I guess today I will just do a bit more on playtesting and do basically victory lap. Oh man, I can't read that. This is an English language chat. You're gonna chat English here. Otherwise I can't moderate. Anybody know what language that is? Oh, I guess we're at the same place we left off yesterday. Japanese? What does it say? Concurrent viewers dropped down suddenly. Have to pick up Duolingo again. I figured someone would just Google Translate it. But I guess there's only, well, wait. You may be the only person here. Concurrent viewers 1. Weird. It seems like now that my video is trending, it's bringing in it's recommending the video to a lot of new people, or the streams to a lot of new people, who are, I guess, mostly bouncing because they don't really it's drawing from a wide audience. Unless the numbers are wrong. But I don't know, kind of random. We got a new member, but I guess that new member just left the stream. So I think basically everything works. It's pretty stable. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't test in screen. How do you win the game? Currently, you have to mine all of the blocks, but there's an infinite number of blocks, and it's an infinite universe, so that makes it very difficult. Oh, excellent. I kind of expected that to be broken, but it just works. Nice. Yeah, a lot of the honestly, up until now, it's almost been so primitive that it's like kind of borderline not even a game. But now that I actually have the ability to show lists in the game, even though that's kind of like it doesn't sound impressive, but it's actually a pretty huge general feature to have like a nice reactive generic renderable list. I can even use that for the help menu, because if I do like move split, like there's this big list and sometimes this goes off the screen, and so eventually I can actually update this feature to I can have scroll bars in the help menu, so it doesn't, you can actually navigate a bit. And as of now, I've been thinking a bit more what would be the next features. So I think I'll probably add some new, like without spending ages developing things, I can easily add new features with I'll probably add types of clay. So these are like these are emojis for metal ores, and I think I can probably also maybe just do like, it's kind of an arbitrary distinction, but you can use so this is a colored square. I can use colored circle to represent like muds and soft clays and things like that. And then I guess I may have to update the terrain generation a bit, which probably isn't that much development. And I'll figure out some kind of mechanism for I'll add some crafting recipes for like first you craft like a simple clay forge, and then I think I'll go with creation of charcoal. So you harvest some wood, then I guess I could maybe should also add like axes and stuff. won't be too much extra work now, just because I can just add a recipe and a different new block type for it. Right, that works in screen. Oh yeah, I forgot. The like graphics mode detection doesn't work by default. I think it just checks the term variable, and I think it checks to see if it's got like it's looking for like a hard-coded string, like color term or something. Have you tried Cave of QUD? This reminds me of that game. I've not. Is that I guess what platform is that played on? That's interesting. I guess that does have some glitches. Interesting. Oh yeah. Well, it's almost playable. I think this was yeah, I think I remember investigating this. This was on an older version of Tmux. I think I concluded it wasn't worth investing the time to make this work. Steam, but uses ASCII graphics. I think it's on Linux. Interesting. I'll have to, if I remember, I'll Google it. Yeah, honestly, there's a bunch of prior art games people have mentioned. They say like this reminds them of this or that, and I haven't heard of any of them. Bradley says, "Hello, Robert. Long time no chat." Yeah, where you been? A lot of people here today. Kind of. It's only, according to the concurrent chatters, only 6 or 7. There was at the start of the stream was down to 2, down to 1 for a bit. Under a rock somewhere. Maybe you found out that I mentioned Discord server. Is there has there been much activity there? I haven't checked in a few days. I check every once in a while to see if there's much going on there. I guess I could be more active in like trying to promote that and stuff, but I just don't have that mental bandwidth. Nope. Yeah, I figure if I chatted more stuff, I could probably like get discussions going and stuff. But then again, I don't want to be on Discord all day. I want to be actually making videos and doing stuff. So I guess one major improvement that this really should have is something that updates these in real time. So whenever you actually get more reagents, it'll like tell you how much you can craft. I guess now that I have enough frame logic and stuff, I should maybe even have like a better inventory. It's like an equipped items section. At least our government shutdown is coming to an end. Did they find a resolution to that? I've heard a few. I saw some stuff about airlines were busy today. They were blaming on that, but I'm not sure if it's even the real cause. So what there was it was due to a deadlock in getting a budget passed, if I remember correctly. Did they was there some clear conclusion to it, or take over quickly to stop AI? You're asking me to take over quickly? I'll do my best. There will always be another shutdown. Yeah, they're becoming more common, and they're lasting for longer. At least I think that's true, isn't it? I guess I didn't pay as much attention when I was a teenager, but it seems like it's just becoming normalized. Who is the Democrats refusing to support? Current government might be the most incompetent. Most incompetent so far. The government metaphorically digs in their pockets, turns them inside out, and shrugs with a smug face. Yep, that's exactly what they do. Refusal by Democrats to support closure, which was necessary for passing the continuing resolution to fund government. Yeah, I forget what the exact. I know there was a few policies that Democrats and Republicans were arguing about, but I don't remember the details. I guess I'll read about it in the next few days. Total and complete failure of other side of the house. Yeah, there's too much news to follow at the moment. I'm struggling to follow all the stuff that's going. The domestic stuff almost seems inconsequential compared to all the geopolitical, the wars and stuff that keep starting and ending and then starting. MD Legend FF says, WTH, what are you doing? I'm currently playtesting a terminal-based video game that I'm working on developing. So I'm planning to do a new release of the game in the next few days. The game now includes a scrollable list that's used for user interaction now. So now you can select the current crafting recipe, and you can also scroll through your inventory items now. Make it a game? Yep. It's a game that runs on the Linux terminal. And it can also run in pure TTY environments. Giordani says hello. How's it going? I want a sewing machine. Interesting. Yeah, you know, I've my first step to $1 gazillion idea. Oh, what's the idea, if you don't mind sharing? No need to follow the news too much. American politicians are always frenetically active because of electoral cycle and term limits. Meanwhile, China just remains still and patient. Well, actually, from the news I follow, there's like just as much, or if not more, drama in like domestic Chinese politics as there is in the U.S. Although none of it gets reported in like mainstream Chinese news. Just a store, very plain to make unique. Wait to see clothing. So is it like are you like repairing vintage clothing, or like you're doing from scratch stitchings? Supreme 2. I don't know what that means. Trying to make it cheap. I said I don't really understand the. So you have a sewing machine and you're doing an online clothing store. Oh, you're making stuff from scratch. That sounds challenging. Yeah, I wouldn't even know. Like when I was a kid, I knew like how to use a sewing machine enough to like stitch stuff, but to do it from scratch, I'd imagine that's much more difficult. Which one is your best preference? Rather be an SOC analyst or ethical hacker? It's SOC analyst. What does that stand for in this context? Or ethical hacker? I don't know. I guess I'm not really either of those things. So it's kind of difficult to. If I stated a preference, it would be my preference about my perception of those things rather than what the actual 9 to 5 work of those is. Supreme is a clothing brand that sells overpriced stuff. Oh, okay. Security Operations Center. Okay, I guess I could imagine what an SOC analyst does, but to be honest, I don't. Like if someone were to get a job as one of those, I can only speculate about what they do. I would assume they sit in like some like war room with a bunch of monitors and a map of the globe, and it has all these dots on it where there's like hacking attempts or something, and they just sit there and they're like, there's a worldwide cyber attack going on. I would imagine like Cloudflare and stuff has stuff like that. I don't know. To try and answer the question though, I guess ethical hacker would be kind of more interesting and exciting, more like puzzle solving. I have a feeling an analyst would somehow make more money though. Very time consuming. Hard doesn't mean impossible. Yeah, actually that's like is it possible with a sewing machine to just like start a piece of fabric from scratch? I would imagine that's like I know how to do stitches, but I actually don't like, is a sewing machine the right piece of equipment to use, or do you need like a, what do you call it, like a loom or something? Buy the fabric? Okay. So you get the fabric and then do the custom stitching. You know, I actually paid money. So I have an issue. The only place I can buy pants that fits me is American Eagle. And every single one of the pair, I have like 5 pairs of pants right now. And I keep having to buy new pairs of pants. Every single one of them gets a hole in the worst location possible in the crotch now. And this has happened with every single pair of pants that I've bought in the last, I would say, like 2 or 3 years. And, you know, it used to take a few years or something, but now it's like, it seems to be happening within a few months. And I can feel the fabric in like the worst position possible is like super thin, seems on purpose. And a couple of years ago, I for a while I was just throwing out my pants when they got holes in them. But then I had saved up like 5 pair or something, and I actually took them to a local seamstress, and I got her to fix them. Although that experience was not necessarily positive because she charged me quite a bit. It ended up being like almost as much money. I mean, she charged me like half as much money as for a new pair of pants, so like $25 a pair or something to stitch them. And she took quite a while. I gave her like a month, and I called her back, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I'm still working on them." But I'd imagine that if you can become good, like I don't know, things that are old are becoming new again. There might actually be some demand for people, like because our clothing is such garbage now, and I'm not sure if other vendors do this, but I guess every pair of pants you buy now, the crotch will wear out of it within like 2 months of wearing it. That might create a lot of demand in the market for people with sewing machines. And there actually is there's a sewing machine place here in Kitchener, and every time I walk by it, there's like a ton of people who are it's like the most lively place in the entire mall. There's a ton of people, like it's actually become like a social club almost. Like you think it'd just be like an old kind of boring place where, you know, old ladies go, but there's actually like, I don't know, like a thriving subculture of people who go there and work on their sewing machines in groups. That's made me think, like, I wonder what the loss of community, if that could be like an interesting alternative to cafes or something, or like meetup groups. So people just went to a place and like worked, doing like some like old fashioned, like go work on a loom for a few hours and meet some people. People always buying clothes, fixing it, looking for new things to wear. Yeah, I don't know if I'm not sure if I guess if you said you're thinking about doing stuff from scratch, but maybe you could even like, maybe there would be honestly, this sounds like a ton of work, but I guess if you're good at it and you can do the volume and you can do the listing sufficiently, then there might be a business model in just buying like used clothing that has minor imperfections like holes and stuff, like if it's a mostly intact piece, but there's just one part that's ripped or something, and just repair the clothing. And I think something like that could possibly even, like the fact that you are repairing the clothing instead of throwing it out. There's probably people who would pay that, like that would be a part of the appeal. Like if you're just advertising it as is, as opposed to like advertising that you repaired it. Actually, even like like in my opinion, because everything is becoming so fake and artificial and everything is AI now, I think people will pay a premium to know that something is like not supporting the horrible corporate sterile system. So even if you had like say a picture of the product, and if you have the picture to prove the before and after, so if you take a picture of like a ripped shirt or something, and then you say like, this is what it looked like before, here's what it looked like after. Just simply doing that and having the proof would probably make it sell for more money, or make it more likely to get sold, because people will be like, oh cool, this is not some I'm not paying some like massive billion-dollar company to like outsource, production to a third world country that uses slave labor and takes harmful toxic dye and then dumps it in the river. I'm actually supporting someone who's making the world better. Just ideas for now. I'll keep my JavaScript learning. Make a simple curtain to learn a bit. Yeah, it makes sense to try and accomplish small dreams first. You may get to using it a bit and realize it's way more work than you thought. There's actually like an interesting intersection to the early history of computers and sewing machines. I guess the most clear one is like the Luddite rebellion, when they were bringing in those like automated machines to replace all the loom operators, and they all rebelled and stuff. But in going down the rabbit hole of like looking into early storage for computers, of course, punch cards or how people store data. But if you go far enough back on the lineage of like what is the what is the earliest computerized punch card, a lot of them, like if you go to like pre 1940 or something like that, some of them end up being related like telegraph operating machines, or for the early TTY predecessors. And then if you go back even further, those kinds of automated storage, those probably like the earliest the earliest use of cards to store information like that would be Loom cards, which you can actually still buy. I think if you go on eBay and just type in like a Loom card, you can get it's basically just a card, and the card encodes a pattern that you put it into a loom, and based on the mechanical properties of the holes, that will print your pattern. So I guess if you really want to do it from scratch, maybe a loom is what you want. Because I think I'm out of my element here, but I think a sewing machine stitches stuff together. But if you want to actually make fabric, a loom is what you want. And you can buy loom cards to input patterns. But then again, I think probably to get anything of decent quality, you probably have to invest like a massive amount of money into it and have like an industrial scale thing. Otherwise, probably you're, if you make fabric, it'll just fall apart. Stick with fabric. I'm trying to fix hold the cloth for now. Yeah, it's easy to imagine what you could do. I'm sure you could easily waste a lot of money going down a rabbit hole, buying looms and loom cards. I would imagine a loom has to be pretty expensive. Let's play with pixels. It says one more. Yep, one more day. We'll be on day 200. I could just make my own pants, that'd be a huge win. Yeah, and even just being able to sew the holes that come in pants. I mean, it's kind of infuriating. It's almost impossible to buy pants now that don't come like pre-destroyed, because they have these like they all have this stupid deliberate rip in them that's for like aesthetics. Such an insane thing that we got all this work to make like perfectly good pants, and then we have another machine that destroys them just enough so that they're like, as soon as you buy them, they're you already need new pants because they're already ripped. But I guess that's just what makes enough money, what makes the most money. Although I think at some point this trend of like producing inferior products is gonna, I think the trend is gonna have to run out eventually, and things may come full circle. We'll go back to like the 1900s. Like if you look at a commercial from like the 1930s or something, the way they advertise the product is they talk about like the virtues of the product and how good the product is and how its quality is high quality, it lasts a lot. But on any commercial now, you never see that at all. It's always about like some kind of artistic thing or something about emotions, making you feel a certain way or manipulating you. Eventually, all the products will become such crap that we'll have to go back to advertising. If someone just makes one ad, they're like, "Hey, here's an inexpensive pair of pants that doesn't have holes in them," and eventually that'll start selling good again. That'll be enough to kind of overcome the extra profit you get from forcing people to buy new pants. A simple, functional, pretty and cheap pair of jeans. Yeah, it'd be nice. But the other issue is finding stuff that fits. I find a lot of proportions are also really strange. Like I can't really buy clothes at Walmart. Because it's almost like they make the size for like, it's not designed for humans. Like it's almost like we've been making clothes for thousands of years, and now we have like automation and computers and stuff. You would think they could make stuff at scale that like it just looks good on you, but it almost seems like Walmart clothes are designed to make you look poor, like they have a baggy fit, or the proportions are strange. There's just like one little thing. I remember I was looking at buying some shoes from Walmart, and they were perfect, except they had this one, like, there was something in the shoe that would, like, it was sharp on both. It was deliberately there. It was like a sharp part that would like stab into your foot. But it was meant to be like some, I don't know, decorative thing or something. I just remembered it made it like impossible to wear. And then I think I was looking at another Walmart shoe, and it was the slipperiest shoe I had ever put on my feet. It felt like I was wearing skates, and it had zero traction at all. It's very bizarre. So wholesome. Excellent. This is the stream to visit for wholesome block mining sessions. Oh yeah, and also world domination. Wholesome world domination. What ideas make subscription or receive a pair every month? At first, make them really good, make it popular, but be lowering the quality over time. You could do that, but I guess would it be successful though? I'm sure there are companies that have probably tried that. Clothing is I think like too personal. People want to try it on and they want a specific design and stuff. Actually, there was I mean, since you're interested in the economics of like clothing and stuff, let me think about the name. There was, I always confuse these brands. There's, I'm not sure if I think it was called, I want to say Lululemon. I can't. So there's like an actual like, I think high quality brand that I can't remember the name of, and then there was another. It was kind of like a pyramid scheme type, like a multi-level marketing thing, and they recruited. It was like those companies that they get women to sell Tupperware, and then they make it like they say like, you're an independent business person, you're a sales agent who runs your own business. Now go sell some Tupperware to all your friends. And they educated you on like all these manipulative sales tactics and stuff. And I think they kind of imploded a few years ago. I think they did something like that. They had really high quality clothing at first. That was like really, fashionable. People wanted it and stuff. And then over time, and I think the scheme was that they got all these people into the multi-level marketing thing, and so they had to make sales quotas and stuff. And of course they're like, oh, you guys are all your own business and stuff. And part of the thing was, to sell this cheap clothing to their women would sell this cheap clothing to their friends and like basically exploit them. But then they would also make a bit of money, like doing this multi-level marketing stuff, trying to recruit more people into this thing. And so all these women were getting like massive quantities of clothing to send out and sell. And over time, the quality started going down like crazily. And I think they had I think the program was like, if you, they're like, it's no risk, because if you don't sell the clothing, then you can return it and you get all your money back or something. So it was like a really, really good deal. But then over time, what happened was people started getting clothing, and the clothing was like absolutely abysmally low quality. Like you could just like pull it apart with your fingers, or you could like almost like you could poke a hole in the clothing. It was so thin. And then I think they started changing their terms, and they didn't let people send stuff back. And then they would the new clothing, the new editions that they started getting, some of them were like full of mold, and they were like unwashed and gross and stuff. Because I think what probably happened was people were sending back unused inventory that they couldn't sell, which was like the worst stuff that nobody wanted, and then they would just like not look into that at all, and then resend it. Yeah, I'm not sure if that was Lululemon, or I remember it sounded like that. But if you just look for YouTube documentaries about pyramid scheme selling clothing. And I think they imploded a few years ago, and they got sued and a bunch of stuff. I think it would make it good and friendly. That's good. That makes the world a better place. But it's also not as profitable. And the competition is fierce. There's so many ruthless businesses out there. If I manage to open a local store, would be great. Then make a clothing chain. yeah, it might, if you get all the variables right, it could work out. But there's lots of people that have that dream, and I think it's one of those things that there's a lot of people that many of the people who end up do it because they love it, not necessarily because of how lucrative it is. That's a interesting bug. I'm pressing M. It's not mining. Is that bugged? It's the first time I've ever encountered that. Oh, weird. If I place it? Oh. Oh, interesting. It's mining it. Okay, there's the bug again. What if I put one over here? That was a strange bug. I guess maybe I'll just ignore that. Can also sell patches, like eye patches for pirates. Because that would go well if you had a piracy theme store. I think for any small business, like if you want any hope of success, well, I guess if it's an online business, that would be especially important, just having some kind of like theme focus. Like if you have a generic store, it's not interesting enough, but if there's actually like a destination. For a physical retail store, though, that's more difficult, because if you go too specific and niche, people aren't gonna find you. EIS Gaming SUT says Nevis 0667. That's what he says. Tooth. YK. What does YK stand for? You know, too many acronyms and too much brain rot and nonsensical, incomprehensible nonsense. This is the future of human communication. In the future, everyone is going to have brain rot. We're all going to be speaking in incomprehensible bread. Yeah, everyone's going to be expected to understand what that means. Bot behavior? You say that, but how do you know? Badges for cloth? Oh, okay. Yeah, that would probably, I guess, depending on, well, if it's an online store, pick your favorite political or like kind of activist theme. You probably would, if you build a following around that specific niche, then you can, sell flags of specific countries, or that would probably do well. But of course, you'd have to have the audience to go with it. It's a lot of work to build a business. You got to, like even right now, my how to make a CPU video is trending. It's getting like 250,000 views a day, and I have my Shopify store linked on the page. And I'm not getting like. Actually, I looked at the traffic. There's like no increase in traffic at all on the store, and there's no sales. And it's a lot of work to make a video that gets like millions of views. But if millions of views don't even lead to sales, then you have to ask what will. Multi-niche store? Yeah, you can. It's a lot of work though. The amazing albatross. Albatrosaurus says, I am a fish. I thought you were an allosaurus. Those are different things, aren't they? I've spotted a flaw in your logic. G'day, mate. How's it going? I don't even know what this stream is about. This stream is about the development of this video game that you're looking at, which is a terminal-based video game that runs in the Linux terminal. And currently I'm playtesting and just talking to chat. And for the previous, I guess, 199 days, I did various things and I've been working on this, and I'm planning to do, I'm just playtesting now, going to do a release tomorrow, release the current version. And I'm raising funds for my campaign for world domination. So if you check, there's a link in the description under this video, and that link indicates my my specific plans. So hopefully you can watch the video and you can join me in my plan, my campaign for world domination. And copper. I do have. Let's see. Do I have? I don't know if I. Oh yeah, I do have metallic copper. And I also have malachite as well. But you can't do anything with the blocks. I still need to add more recipes and game mechanics to actually do stuff with them. Don't know how hard it would be to make a store that changes its UI based on how you enter it. Sounds complex. The only hard part would be CSS mimicking all the UI. That's the code spaghetti. A store that changes its UI based on how you enter it. It depends what you mean by that. So the whole concept of like an HTTP request is they're supposed to be, well, at least the early version was they're like stateless. So if you do a GET request to a document URL, it's supposed to always return the exact same document. It's like just a lookup of documents. That's the original web vision. So those constraints are kind of loosened now, because you can have cookies and stuff. But you can have the same content in a page and then have like different skins over it. So you can like access it from like a different domain or a different URL, and it could be the same underlying store underneath, and then you can like reskin the page differently that way. Very cool. Excellent. I'm glad you approve. Tacolara says, "Hey Robert, are we dominating today?" Yes, in fact we are. Today is going to be the last day of just testing to make sure there's no more bugs in this. And then tomorrow I'll probably release the existing version. I can already see some things that should be improved, but I'm not going to tempt fate. I'll just keep the functionality that's in this and not break anything. And then I'll publish this tomorrow, and then I actually have not planned anything for what the stream will involve for the next while. subbed. Excellent. That guy always types his words backwards if you're trying to figure out what he's saying. Make recreational programming sessions where you're trying new things. I could. I'm not really necessarily short on ideas. I've been trying to kind of favor things that map to a kind of longer term, higher impact strategy. I thought the game would maybe, I don't know, there's moments when I kind of think maybe this could, I could grow this into something. It's difficult to say. I was curious to see what would happen. Part of this, 200-day experiment has been to see like what would happen if I just stream every day. Like would the stream numbers grow over time? And for a first while, it seemed like they were, but I kind of think the decision to turn off monetization, that may have actually had way more of an impact than I thought. So that's back on now. So we'll see if, I don't know, I'll keep doing this for a while. And we'll see what happens. It's still on my to-do list to actually try out AI. People keep asking me about, what do you think about AI programming? And I haven't really actually even done that yet. I've played around with a couple things, but the integrate. I was kind of just waiting for the integrations to get better because I don't want to have to waste a bunch of time using some buggy plugin. What know, terminal speed affects gameplay. I put a lot of work into this, making the screen updating efficient. So at the current speed, it kind of doesn't have that much of an impact. There's one thing, like some people have said, it'd be nice if the movement was a bit more like for example, if I press W to go up and then I try to go sideways, like if I go like that, it stops, or like to change direction quickly, and that is being limited by the keyboard auto repeating setting of the TTY, and in this case it's in an X environment, so it's limited by you can use the xset command to change the auto repeating, and there's another command you can use for that in the raw console. So that's an aspect that I guess I wouldn't really call it like terminal speed. It's just the keyboard auto repeating setting. But so far, I haven't had too many problems with lag. I went to significant efforts to make sure that all the threads are in different frames. So eventually, once I necessarily get things that are like UI updates that are expensive, so like if I have something going on over here that's really slow, it won't cause like jitter and noticeable slowdown in the input response over here. So I think that's the main thing, is if the I/O, or most importantly, if the user's inputs feel like they're lagging, it makes a really bad experience. my channel of amazing stuff. What happened to the pink theme you implemented a while back? That still exists. Actually, I could, I think actually might be a couple things that don't, I might have not updated. So now you can, it's been a while since I turned this on. Yeah, you can just go in here and then type in pink, change that to pink, recompile. Uploading animation is nice. Uploading animation. Okay, there's what it currently looks like. I guess I didn't update the list. Oh man, I can't see what I've selected on here. But yeah, it's close. The scroll bars are consistent. I don't think I'll bother changing it, but if you wanted, you could just go into the function that returns the, actually I think I might have it hard coded as green, but you just have to add a section to make it, I don't know what color that should map to. Purple, I guess, maybe. It's so hard in the eyes. I was wondering, since I watched Casey Muratori's video on the matter, showed how slow Windows terminal was. Yeah, I haven't really used Windows Terminal in quite a while. I used PowerShell for a project a few years ago. Pink theme is super intense. Yep. Yeah, I guess eventually I could probably add something to the help menu, so you can actually you could select your themes at runtime, or you could even select colors and stuff. But I don't know, there's a million things I could do, but I'm gonna focus on the most interesting incremental thing to add to get more revenue. Well, it is 11:42. I think I proved my point. This seems to work. I haven't played this for the last couple of streams. Haven't found any major bugs. So I think it's time to declare the list feature complete and release it. Do a release version tomorrow. And then I'll maybe put this to the side for a bit. And yeah, I don't know. I feel like I should change. Honestly, I want to keep working on this, but I should probably focus a little bit differently on something. I should maybe change up the streams a bit. Experiment with something new. Swimming in the ocean? Yeah, it looks like it. All right, we'll leave it there for tonight, and we'll be back tomorrow night for day 200. All right, have a good night, guys.